Heyo ladies and gentlemen, my name is Darth Rich and here we are with Star Citizen once again. Today we're going to be having a look at another ship that we happen to have in our hangar. We're in the Revel and York hangar today and we're going to have a look at the Cutlass Red. Now, if you've seen any of the other videos, you will know that I'm fairly new to Star Citizen, but I've been getting into it quite seriously recently and I'm enjoying having a look at all the different ships. We did have a look at the Cutlass Black the other day, and to my surprise I was really quite taken by it. It wasn't a ship that I particularly fancied for any reason, but once I got it in the hangar, the styling, the size and the facilities of it, you know, became quite attractive. So I thought we'd have a look at the Cutlass Red today. The Cutlass Red is kind of different to any other ship that I've come across. Now, most of the ships, well, in fact, I would go as far to say as all of the ships in Star Citizen that we're able to pledge for at this moment in time, do have a focus, a certain utility that they're particularly designed for. Now that's not to say that they can't be utilised for other roles as well. They quite obviously can, and the majority of them will also be able to be modified and altered in such ways to be able to make them more flexible in the roles, I should say. Now this one is a bit different because it's got one use and one use only, really, in its present state anyway. Obviously you will be able to modify this ship like any other, but the Cutlass Red is primarily a search and rescue vessel, and it's kitted out as such to be able to give utility in a way that no other ship perhaps offers at this moment in time, certainly out of the ones that we're able to have in our hangar. Now, the Cutlass Red, the thing that distinguishes it, well, any of the Cutlass really from any of the other ships, are these huge thrusters that it has at the back. So the forward-facing thrusters there, and also those slightly smaller ones on the side as well. They all pivot to get it to give it manoeuvrability like no other ship really, and obviously having that sort of manoeuvrability really suits a search and rescue ship, because you know, if you want to get into any sort of tight areas that are out on the battlefield, whether they are planet side or perhaps even in outer space areas, then being able to have that extra control over where you're landing or where you're trying to dock with is certainly going to be very useful indeed. Now, because it is a search and rescue vessel, then it does also have a long-range scanner as well, and it features the Nav E7 Echo transponder. So presumably it'd be able to pick up on any distress signals that anybody's putting out. Now, when you think of the utility of this, you kind of think that perhaps you need to be in an organisation or group that is perhaps a little bit larger in size, because if you're going to have a ship that is specifically for the healing and treatment of your pilots and your fighters, then one would presume that you've probably got quite a large fleet that houses quite a lot of people. The benefit of having such a spacecraft is to give treatment out on the battlefield, or perhaps an area where you've been injured and people need very, very quick treatment. Because if you need to wait to get to a starport planet side, or perhaps one of the larger capital type ships, then you know, having to wait might mean losing an extra limb, or perhaps more tragically losing a life, where one would presume again that this type of spacecraft will be able to give treatment for you know, small injuries, perhaps heal them completely, and for the more serious ones perhaps put you in a more stable condition until you can get the full treatment in a proper hospital. So we just opened up the back cargo door there. Now obviously that's going to enable us to be able to get the wounded in and out of the bay. The first thing I noticed, or one of the most surprising things of the Cutlass Black, was the amount of size that was inside. So obviously we know what to expect when we do get inside, but just looking round it, you know, the level of detail in all the ships is absolutely astonishing. But I think this one probably more than any other that I've seen so far. The way the light catches those different textures, so you've got like you've got those stickers there, and the paint is kind of like got a matte sheen to it, but it's kind of like a little bit worn. It's absolutely fantastic. Those pivoting thrusters there, we've got the fuel line cables, and these front wings here, they look like they've seen a scrape or two. So let's go inside and have a look. So obviously this is kitted out in a way to suit the rescue of people, and as soon as you step in, you can see that you know, you're able to house quite a few people in here. So we've got these cots or beds to the left and the right. So we've got 4 on each side. So we've got 8 in total, and we've also got these 2 medical facilities here. Now it does say that it comes equipped with an auto dock. Now that's DOC, so I presume that this is what these are. So these are going to be your treatment tables where the injured or those that are looking a bit worse for wear should go to actually get the treatment, and then we can assume that those that are stable enough to be able to be taken back to the capital ship or to perhaps back to a starport or planet side will then go in these bays here. And although they don't look too comfortable, hopefully they're going to be put you in such a state that you're not going to be further injured. It makes me a bit dizzy getting out there, to be perfectly honest. There we go. So we've got these auto dock bays. So I assume once we're actually laid down on them, we actually get the treatment. Now I can assume that perhaps these auto docks identify the problem and also treat it as well. Now, quite what you're going to use up on those. If it's just obviously there's going to be increased power, I would have thought, to an empty cargo bay. But is it going to have to be, you know, is it going to have to be fueled with drugs and other substances to perhaps heal or to perhaps even reconstruct certain parts of the body or stuff like that? I don't actually know. Perhaps that's something we could have a look into. But yeah, they look very good. There's obviously some sort of display here to show how our patient is doing, and perhaps give you some vital signs. Now, whether you're able to interact to be able to help the process along, I don't actually know, to be perfectly honest. But interesting indeed. We've got the buttons here that we're able to open our cargo door. Not quite sure where the tractor beam is on this one, but there is a tractor beam, as there is with all the Cutlass variants. But yeah, it looks fairly good. Looks fairly good indeed. So if we go through here, you can see that the seats for us to be able to sit down. So perhaps if you're in a particularly violent area, you might have a couple of people along, some mercenaries perhaps, or somebody who's equipped with some sort of weapons to be able to protect those that are not be able to protect themselves at that moment in time. We've got that's where the turret is on the other Cutlass. I'm not sure if that's fully sealed off or if that is the extra secure docking collar. I presume that's probably is the case, because this does actually come with a secure plus docking collar, opposed to the secure docking collar that comes on the standard Cutlass Black and also the Cutlass Blue as well. Now when I press this button here, I'm not quite sure what happens, to be perfectly honest. I don't know whether that was something to do with the tractor beam or whether it's to do with the long range scanner. I'm not quite sure. The maximum The maximum crew capacity on the Cutlass Red is actually 4 people, where it's only touted as 3 for the Cutlass Black and the Cutlass Blue. So perhaps we can have somebody that's able to help pinpoint the distress signals or something of that nature. We've got the full displays here on the 2 seats that are here in the cockpit. If we just jump up onto here. Now this whole console unit where the seats are actually placed, we should move across to the centre. They don't at this moment in time. I'm not quite sure. I'm sure when I had the Cutlass Black, it did once for me, but then it seemed to seize up completely. Maybe that's when another patch comes in. I'm not quite sure, but it does give you an idea of the sort of view that we have available to us. It's almost uninterrupted again. Yeah, fantastic view all the way around, and these extra windows down by the bottom left and bottom right will enable us to be able to pilot ourselves into some fairly tight areas, which obviously for a search and rescue ship is going to be quite important, because people might not always be easily accessible, especially if they're in a war area as well. So it's going to be pretty important that we can get in, get the people who need the treatment on board and get out quickly, which the Cutlass is perfectly suited for, and that visibility is only going to aid that slightly further. So if we just jump out there, obviously co-pilot's chair there, and we've got a button here to open this door. I do love that door, the sound, the way it kind of sucks itself off, and then we've got that mechanism that just pushes it out. Fantastic. So let's have a look. Level of detail again on this wing is great, and we've got the manoeuvring thrusters, and we should be able to get up on here. Now I presume this is the long range scanner, where the turret would be in the other in the Cutlass Black. We can see we've got extra light in here, which would be extra important to us if we're in a particularly dark area, and trying to pinpoint exactly where the people are that need our assistance. Not sure if we can jump up on here, can we? No. Extra, I'm not sure if that's extra storage space. I'm not entirely sure there, but we can see we've got this rack here, and it kind of looks like one would expect like a search and rescue Land Rover would look like in today's terms. So it has that look to it, and the paint job looks absolutely fantastic. So that's just about it, really. I think we've had a good look around the Cutlass Red. I don't think it's going to stay in my hangar, I'll be quite honest. I'm really taken with a Cutlass now, and I would certainly like to have one of them. I have put a placeholder organisation up. It's not one that I anticipate is going to grow particularly large. Haven't actively looked for anybody to join it just as yet, but I think you'd need a fairly sizable organisation and or fleet to be able to utilise something like this. I think probably what's slightly more interesting to me is if you did have the standard Cutlass Black, would you be able to put one of the medical bays in there? Now that becomes a very useful vehicle then if you're going into some of the slightly less desirable areas, and if you could be able to have a significant cargo capacity and also the ability to be able to give treatment as well during your journey, then that becomes quite an attractive prospect, I would have thought. Surprisingly, the cargo capacity of the Cutlass Red is very close to that of the Cutlass Black, considering it's got all the medical bays in there as well. The Cutlass Black comes with the ability to be able to carry 150 freight units, whilst the Cutlass Red is able to carry 120 freight units. Now I find that slightly interesting. I wonder if that is freight units that are designated to the utility of the spacecraft. So is this going to be freight units that are going to be used up by medical supplies and or drugs or additional treatment equipment and stuff like that, or is it going to be additional space that you can use for any type of cargo? If that is the case, then yeah, it's it's definitely got the capability to be able to be quite a formidable ship, because maybe you want to appear like you're a search and rescue ship, but perhaps you've got slightly less good intentions. Who's going to stop a search and rescue vehicle? Who's going to suspect that they might be up to no good? That's definitely a possibility, I guess. And perhaps you can even strip the interior out to be able to carry more of standard cargo. Who knows? But I think that just about leaves us at a good point on this one, really. As I say, I think it's going to come out of the hangar for now, and we're going to have a look at some other ships. Here in the UK and the rest of Europe, we're going to unfortunately be liable for value-added tax from the 1st of February 2015. So on the Star Citizen website at this moment in time, CIG have very kindly allowed us to be able to purchase some of the limited edition ships. So I'm going to be having a look at those over the next few days whilst I can. So I'm quite looking forward to that. What happens when the sale is over, whether I intend to keep one of those ships or not, I'm not entirely sure. It's going to be certainly an interesting time anyway, and hopefully we can have a look at some of those. I'm quite excited to have a look at some of the ships that I've not been able to so far. If you have made it this far into the video, as always, you are my favourite people. Thank you ever so much. It really does mean a lot. I'm really enjoying making these videos, as I've said before, and if for whatever silly reason somebody also enjoys listening to me, then all the better. Very much appreciated indeed. If you'd like to see more Star Citizen videos, then I will definitely be making more. That's an absolute guarantee. Do hit the subscribe button if you'd like to be notified of them. Feel free to like or dislike accordingly, depending on your opinions of the video. If I have made any mistakes, or you'd like to add anything to what I've mentioned during the video, then please do leave a comment. Even if you just want to say hello, that would mean a lot, and I will definitely say hello back. So I think that about takes us to the end of this video. Thank you ever so much for watching once again, and we'll see you next time.